Hello, everybody, and happy Monday, and welcome to the Breathe Break for Your Brain. I'm Leah Lund. I'm the creator of One Whole Health, where we help you deal with the 5 big pain points that most women and all people, but especially women, experience: overwhelm, anxiety, fear, self-doubt, and self-sabotage. All of these tie back to how your brain is functioning. And all of these, when you're feeling them, there is work that can be done to help you reprogram your neural pathways to get out of feeling that way. And we've talked about in past Breathe Breaks, there are 3 ways to form a new neural pathway. You can plant seeds, which is when you really implant the idea in your reticular activating system of your brain. And you can also form rituals that you practice that are deliberate in bringing you to your prefrontal, to your thinking, your decision maker, so that you're thinking from a logical basis versus reacting from an emotional basis. And those are rituals that you practice into habits. And then there's also the discipline of consciously shifting yourself, usually by engaging the breath or the body. Shift yourself out of the reptilian brain when you realize that you're having that response from the amygdala of fear or flight, fight or flight or freeze, which is fear-based, and shifting yourself intentionally to the rational prefrontal cortex of your brain. And so today we're going to talk about one type of ritual. So really that second type of way to form a new neural pathway is something that I call FFTR. And it's focus, fluff, trust, rest. So FFTR, focused, fluff, trust, and rest. So if you've got those 4, hi, for those of you saying hi, and if you've got them, I'd love if you just type your takeaways as you have them here in the chat. But so FFTR, focus, fluff, trust, rest. Focus, fluff, trust, rest. Focus, fluff, trust, rest. What in the world do these words have to do with forming a new neural pathway? I'm going to tell you right now. So first of all, when we are developing a ritual, that it takes us into the prefrontal cortex, which means that we're able to make decisions, comparisons, evaluate, be logical about things, solve problems. In order to bring us into that area, you have to manage not only the large array of information and stimulation that comes at you every single hour of every single day, from people talking to you, phone ringing, your computer dinging with all the alerts of all the emails and all the social media. Now we have texts as well, your kids asking you questions, you're driving the car, the things that are happening in traffic, the things that are happening if you glance at the news. All of this stimulation really activates our nervous system and gets us very wound up and tends to have us thinking in that inner part of the brain that I can't even really point out or touch, that has you in the fight or flight or freeze mode. And so FFTR is a practice that you will put in place intentionally, foundationally, ahead of all that stimulus coming, so that you know you can respond to the stimulus as it comes versus reacting to it. So the first thing is focus. The first thing is structure your day to focus on primarily your priorities, the things that are important to you, the things that matter, the things at the end of your life you will care if you spent time on them or not. Because believe me, and you know this, there's plenty of things that won't matter to you whatsoever in the end, but they just feel urgent because the way the information comes to you makes it feel that way. So focus is really important. And basically there's 5 major time blocks of the day. And if you figure them to be about 90 minutes each, and then you take a breathe break in between those 5 major time blocks of the day, that pretty much is the structure of any given day. So that means at most you could have 5 priorities. So how many priorities did you enter today with? And if it's anything more than 5, no wonder your brain is already working from safety and protection, fight or flight or freeze. So what are those time blocks? The time blocks are the first thing in the morning before you leave. And this is a typical schedule, but even if you work from home or work part-time or something like that, you still have these time frames, but I'm going to describe what the majority of people are doing during these time frames. So first is the 90 minutes or so that when you get up before you leave the house. And if already you're off track, meaning if you say, wow, it's 30 minutes from when I get up till I leave the house, you are putting yourself in emergency state right there by getting up and not having time to eat and ease into the day and running straight out the door. But so follow me here. 90 minutes in the morning before work. Then you have another 90-minute segment that is your morning at work. You have a mid-afternoon 90-minute at work. That's afternoon. You have a 90-minute in the first getting home time frame. A lot of times that has family activity and whatnot. And then unless you're working really long days, you've also got 90 minutes in the evening. But at most, you have 5 major time segments. If you only have 4, then acknowledge that you only have 4 because of commute or whatever else is unique about your schedule, but acknowledge how many major time blocks you have during the day and know that that's the number of focuses you can have for the day. So that's focus. Be realistic about, okay, in this 90 minutes, the number one priority is when you get up, I hope it's your sunrise ritual for yourself, your meditation, your workout, something like that. When you first get to work, what's the most important thing all day that you need to get done at work in that first morning segment? In the afternoon, what's the next most important thing that you need to get done while you're at work? Then when you get home, if it's family time, what's the only number one, just one thing you want to accomplish with your family? And then hopefully you have that 5th time segment that's your number one focus for you. And that still is a lot. So again, if you don't have 5 time blocks, if you only have 4, cut it back. Just know that you're only able to give your focus, your pure focus, to 4 major things during the day. Okay, so that's focus. In order to protect focus, it brings us to our next F, and that's fluff. You got to take the fluff out. Take out the stuff that is just trivial, doesn't really matter, doesn't really need to be done by you, might not need to be done at all. Now, I'm certainly not talking about a shower and brushing your teeth. Those things don't fall into either of the F category. They're just daily habits. They're things that you want to do like clockwork without even thinking about. So of course you've got your routines and your daily habits, but we're talking about priorities here. If there's 4 or 5 priorities, that's it. So notice, what are all the other things you occupy your mind thinking about? And that's an important distinction about the fluff, is that it's what you're actually doing, but it's also how much of your headspace, how often are you spending the time thinking about that thing that's fluff? It just really doesn't matter. So this is how I want you to set up your rest of your day today. So today, depending where you live, you might only have 1 block of time left. You might only have 2. It may even, depending where you are in the world, be that it's already time to go to bed. So either today yet or tomorrow, set up the rest of your day or your whole day and your whole day tomorrow in these time blocks. Know what the focus is and cut out the fluff. Then it brings you to T. T is trust. Once you do that, it takes trust that the important things will get done and that you will enjoy the priorities of your life. And so structure your day that way and trust. Turn it over to the universe, turn it over to God if you use that language. Know that if it's important, it shall be done. If it's meant to be, it will happen. If it's for you, it will come to you. Trust, trust, trust. And then rest. If you don't give your brain downtime, you will keep shifting back into the amygdala area of the brain, to your stress response, to your reptilian brain, and you won't be able to stay in your prefrontal cortex where you can focus. So focus and fluff don't really work without trust and rest. And so rest is 90-minute breathe break, breathe break every 90 minutes, excuse me. And rest is also downtime. It's different than sleep. It's different than taking the kids out to a movie. Okay, it's truly your downtime where you have a stimulus-free environment. Maybe you're reading, maybe you're journaling, maybe you're on a quiet walk by yourself, but it's downtime, and that needs to happen regularly as well for your brain. So that's the FFTR approach to developing a ritual that helps you form new neural pathways and really to keep your pathways clear and to have you not always be in reactionary and stress mode from all the stimulus around you. And so in order to stick to your FFTR, it means you will need to say no to some things. And another little tip I'll leave you with is to also know that there's no later. There is no later. When you're on an FFTR plan, there's no later. There's no, oh, I'll make this a focus later. I mean, it may become a focus of another day, but as things are coming up throughout the day, usually from other people bringing them up to you, if it's not on your FFTR plan for today, then you need to think like there's no later that you're going to come back to it. So just deal with it right then and there. And what do I mean by that? I mean, tell them no if it's just a no. If it's an answer to a question, don't say, I've got to think about it. Thinking about things really stresses out our brain and keeps us in the amygdala. So don't think about it later. Think about it right now. Make a decision. Tell them yes or no, and it's gone. It's done. Also, don't think, well, I'd like to do that. I'll plan time for it and keep this big long list of things you're going to do someday. Stay in the now. Every day, FFTR. That's all there is. There is no later. So I want you all to try that out, and I look forward to hearing how it works for you the rest of today, because there is no later. So practice it today. Even if you practice it for one segment of time out of the rest of your day, focus, take out the fluff, trust, turn it over, and then when you're done, rest. And share your results with all of us here. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here.